What's going on, guys? CGG Matt back. Welcome back to the Power Rankings, this time post-trade deadline by like a week. It doesn't really matter. I'm putting it in the title anyways. This is the Power Rankings. As you can tell, we have tiers here, waiting for June. Just a step below, there is a world, young and fun, young and not fun, and probably will not watch another game. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are starting off the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm going to put them in There Is a World. They're not a bad team, don't get me wrong. This isn't a bad team. They obviously have the top end talent that a lot of teams can't compete with. A lot of teams don't have LeBron, Luka, and Reeves leading their team, right? The issue, everything else. Jake LaRavia has been bad recently. That's been really tough to watch. He started off really well, and he's kind of fallen off since then. It makes me kind of sad. I was rooting for Jake. Ayton, again, another guy that started off well, hasn't really been playing well recently either. They have no interior defense. But perimeter-wise, like they were in the game against OKC yesterday. I mean, they kept it tight enough, but it's just, even without SGA, the Thunder were just defensively better than the Lakers. Really, like Isaiah Joe was getting wide open looks. That's one of the best shooters in the league, getting open looks. And there's no Shea. There's no gravity from the all-stars on their team. It was just Isaiah Joe getting open on his own. That's just inexcusable. They picked up Luke Kennard at the deadline, and that doesn't move the needle a ton for me. It moves it a little bit because Luke Kennard's a capable basketball player, but it doesn't move the needle in terms of like how I feel about them winning a championship. It just doesn't. They're a fine team, not an elite one. The Golden State Warriors, I'm just, where do I want to put them? I guess I'm going to have to put them with the Lakers. I think I should have to create another row. I probably will at some point. I don't think the Lakers and the Warriors are on the same level. I think the Lakers are just outright better, especially right now without Steph Curry playing and Jimmy Butler out and Kristaps Porzingis out. They won a game yesterday against Memphis, which honestly was very impressive on their part because it felt like they were down by a lot. Like, there was a lot of guys. Memphis is rolling out some weird lineups late game. Javon Small a lot. I don't know. The Warriors played good enough to win yesterday. Al Horford really carried them down the stretch, it felt like. But I just don't think they're a good team right now. The team isn't built right. On top of that, there's a lot of injuries. Their star-level players are all hurt. All their guys who are all-star caliber are currently hurt. Steph, Jimmy, Kristaps. The rest are the rest. Brandon Pajemski's played all right. It's not a great team right now, even when healthy. Thing is, they're not even healthy right now. Yeah, I created another tier. It's called Super Mid. The Warriors are going into Super Mid because the Celtics, I believe, deserve to be a step up, and there is a world. There's a world where they come out of the East. Jason Tatum has to be healthy. He's back to practicing with the main Celtics. They should be the main Red Claws. I'm still arguing that point. They should still be the main Red Claws. They should not be the main Celtics. Either way, Tatum's back to practicing with the G League. But he's also still rehabbing. It's a mental hurdle, they said, as well, that's in there. If you get Tatum back, even if he's at 90%, it really carries a lot of the weight. The issue with the Celtics right now, with how they're constructed today, is they just don't have enough shot makers and shot takers. They traded away one at the deadline in Anthony Simons, but they did get Vucevic. They needed a big man, but now they need a shot creator. It's like they filled one hole just to open up another one. They're very guard reliant. Like, if Peyton Pritchard's having an off night, the game's basically over. Like, Peyton Pritchard's been damn near carrying the offense for a good little bit. Peyton Pritchard bag work is one of my favorites. If you have a young kid that you're trying to teach basketball, don't show him LeBron highlights. Don't show him like Jokic highlights even. Show him Peyton Pritchard highlights, because a 5'9" kid could do what Peyton Pritchard's doing. A 5'9" kid could not do what LeBron James is doing. I still believe the Celtics could come out of the East. There is a world where it happens. I just don't think I'm as high on them as other Eastern Conference teams that we will get to in a minute, but there is a world. There's a reason that tier is there, and I believe they're right there with the Lakers. Like, it's super close. The Lakers have the top-end talent over the Celtics, but they don't have the role players. The Celtics have a lot better role players than the Lakers do. They just don't have the top-end talent. Miami Heat. I'm going to call them young and not fun, because they are young. Like, Yakachonis played a good bit yesterday. He had over 20 points, I remember. Yakachonis had some all right run yesterday. Like, there's some young guys over there that are interesting. Jovic is interesting. Ware is interesting when he's not in Spo's doghouse, when he's playing the right way, right? The issue is that they're just not that fun to watch. They're really just mid. They're mid as hell. The reason why they're young and not fun, though, is because there's just so many veterans on the roster, and this was a team that we thought maybe could make some noise at the deadline, you know, make a move or something, and instead they did nothing. They effectively did nothing at their deadline. They didn't even sell Norman Powell, who I think is on the last year of his deal. I know Norman Powell was like an all-star caliber player and has been really good for Miami, but he is 30 plus on a different timeline. He's older and he's on an expiring. I don't know why they didn't try and do anything with that. But there's some young pieces that really make you want to watch. But the veterans that are still there, the two timelines doesn't make any sense, is what I'm getting at. They have two timelines running at once, and it doesn't make any sense. The Chicago Bulls, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I don't think I'm going to watch another Bulls game this year. Do they just have 8 guards now? I mean, they're not a bad team. I think that, like, the one thing that really keeps me interested in the Bulls long term is Modest. Like, Modest Buzelis' development, and Jalen Smith a little bit, because I like me some Jalen Smith. He had some good run at center, and now he gets to fully run the center with their other rookie that I forget his name. All due respect, like, the Bulls aren't playing for anything. I think they're playing just to kind of lose at this point. They're down to the 11 seed as I look at it right now. So they're even out of the play-in today. So I probably will not be watching another Bulls game. I root for you, Chicago fans. At least they got a bunch of second-round picks at the deadline and didn't do nothing. There's some value in that at least. Toronto's going to go right with the Celtics, and there is a world. I think there's a world where Toronto can get the job done. They're a really good defensive team, and they have some late-game shot creators who can really help them out in a tight game, whether it's Emmanuel Quickley, whether it's Brandon Ingram, whether it's even RJ Barrett, who's still there, even though a lot of people thought he wasn't going to be. They're getting Jakob Poeltl back eventually. I think it's supposed to be soon, but the issue is I don't even know if he's 100% when he comes back. The guy got back injections. That's some scary shit. I don't know. I don't know about Yak. If he's healthy, that's a game changer because they've needed rebounding. They've needed help on the inside. Colin Murray-Boyles is fantastic, but behind him, they're playing whoever at center. Mamu's good. I'll put some respect on Mamu, but he's probably still not a 5. Either way, I think the Raptors could get the job done because their defense is super good. It's just, I don't know. They don't have the top-end stars to really make you believe. Plus, I believe they're one of those teams with one of those weird home road splits. They've played good ball recently. I just don't think they're one of the top of the Eastern Conference teams, even though they really do have a tough defense. And Scotty Barnes is going to be an all-defensive player, in my opinion. And I don't even think that's a hot take. He should finish probably top 5 in DPOI as well. He's having an incredible year for them. The Knicks in just a step below, because truth be told, they're the second best team in the East right now. They've been playing a lot better. They went through a January slide where they looked horrific. Since then, they've really pieced it together, 9-1 in their last 10. They've really seemed to figure it out defensively. Their defense was a problem for a majority of that losing skid, and Karl-Anthony Towns was just bad. But Cats seemed to flip it around a little bit. Their defense has certainly turned up a little bit. Jose Alvarado hasn't hurt. What's his name? Mohamed Diawara has been getting more PT. He didn't look bad. In that Celtics game, he hit a 3 or 2. He had a nice steal on Jaylen Brown. Like, Diawara looked pretty good. Landry Shamit's coming around and is hitting 3s now. Mike Brown's tightened up his rotations a little bit, and it's worked out relatively well. The Knicks look like they could be a finals contender out of the East. It's just such a clogged Eastern Conference right now at the top, and you're not sure, man. It's all matchup based. It really depends on who they see in the first and second round, but I do believe that as of right now, they are my second best team in the East. Although I hate them. I hate seeing the Knicks do well. They are still the second best team in the East. The Phoenix Suns are a really weird team. I guess I have to put them in there is a world. Even though they're currently the 7 seed, they've been missing some big-time pieces recently. Jalen Green, Devin Booker have both been out, and Dillon Brooks has been carrying them, really. But they're such a fun team. I kind of wanted to put them in young and fun, but they're not that young. There's a bunch of vets on this team. Like you think about it, Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, Grayson Allen, even Mark Williams isn't even that young anymore. Like, you just mount Colin Gillespie. These aren't young guys. Jordan Goodwin's not a young guy, you know? So they have to go in there is a world because it's personally they don't fit anywhere else. I don't want to put them in the same category as the Warriors, though, because of expectations. You know, expectations for Phoenix were in the mud before the season, fully in the mud. And they've managed to piece together just a really solid season. They're actually ahead of Golden State in the standings right now. And I just think they're a better team. They're a better constructed team than Golden State. This is a team that tracks the ball super well. They get their hands on everything. Jordan Goodwin's in passing lanes and getting deflections. Grayson Allen's doing much of the same. Colin Gillespie's getting under people's skin. This team is annoying as hell because they have a bunch of antagonists. That's what they have, is just a bunch of antagonists. They'll get in your grill. Jordan Goodwin broke his face for a reason. He plays good defense, right? This team is just tough, and they're super fun, And that's why I'm giving them the boost over a Golden State. They're just better built, and they're way more exciting, to be honest with you. I know the Nuggets have been on a skid recently, so I'm kind of giving them like a little bit of a buffer here. This is a team that hasn't looked fully right since Jokic has come back, and people are like, well, it's Jokic's fault, and it's like, look at the schedule they played without Jokic. They played some cupcakes. You know, they played really well, don't get me wrong, but they played a weaker schedule without him. Since he's come back, they've played like the Thunder, the Cavs. These are top-tier teams, damn near, and Jokic hasn't looked per se bad, but it looks like a team that just got a bunch of people back and is now figuring out how to play with that bunch of people that they've never had before. You think about it, early in the season, before Jokic's injury, Aaron Gordon was out, I believe, right? They lose Jokic, Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown come back, Cam Johnson comes back. Now they have all their pieces back, damn near. Jamal Murray goes out for a game or two, and they just look like a team that's trying to figure out how to play with all these guys, how to make it all work, because they haven't had them at the same time. These guys have not been on the floor simultaneously, and their defense has been terrible, and I think that's a result of it. Defense in the NBA, team defense, is damn near a majority of the time a result of like just being well connected with your team. With the team being connected, you know, 5 guys, 1 ship, you know what I mean? I don't like using these analogies, but either way, defense is mostly like with teams is you have to be tied in with your teammates, and they haven't. They haven't been together. This team has not played together. Christian Brown had a great game against the Cavs yesterday. Didn't really matter, unfortunately, but like this is a team that just hasn't been able to play with each other, so they haven't gelled with each other yet. That's why they're in step below. Give it 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks. Give it 3 weeks. We'll see where we're at again, but as of right now, I still have a lot of faith in them. They've just gone through the ringer recently because they're getting a lot of people back, and they haven't acclimated them yet. Dallas, I'm going to put in young and fun just because of the Cooper Flag effect. Like, I'll turn on a Dallas game just to watch Cooper Flag. I could give a fuck about Klay Thompson. I could not give any more of a fuck about PJ Washington. Cooper Flag's the main event. The main event. That's his nickname. I didn't try to do that, but it just kind of fell into my lap. But Cooper Flag gets them the boost. If they didn't have Cooper Flag, they'd be down here, but they do, so they're up here. You get what I'm saying? Cooper Flag is just so exciting. Gets downhill, finishes at the rim. He's worth a highlight a game, at least, and he's coming around three-point shooting-wise. Haven't checked the percentages to verify that, but eye test, he's hitting threes more often than he was before, so I feel like the percentages have got to be getting better. The Spurs, I'm going to put them in waiting for June. They're one of the top teams in the league for good reason. They have an elite defense anchored by the best anchor in the league, maybe, with Rudy. It's Victor. Victor's the most feared defender in the NBA for sure. And then after that, it's just a bunch of really top-class role players. Stephon Castle, of course, is tremendous year 2 guy. So much bounce, so much acceleration, and then he decelerates faster than it. I mean, his 0 to 60, 60 to 0 time is insane. They're super young, they're hungry, and those teams are dangerous come playoff time. The youngry teams are dangerous come playoff time because they don't have anything to play for. Nobody expected the Spurs to be the 2 seed preseason. So now that it's happening, nobody really expected that, and now they're dangerous because they aren't playing for anything. It also helps when even their role players are guys that can just get hot and carry you for an entire game. Keldon can get hot and help carry them for a game. Vassell isn't really a role player, he's more of a shot creator, but he can get hot. Julian Champagnie will just turn on the blowtorch one random night, give you 7 to 10 threes, and then check out. And that's a big game swing. Luke Cornett on the rebounding can really help out. Like, even their role players are just good. Harrison Barnes has had a decent year. Like, they just have a good amount of role players mixed with these young guys, and it's working out well. They're waiting for June, and they're hoping for health. Philadelphia, I'm putting them in super mid. I think they're a step below the other Eastern Conference teams. I don't even know what to make about the 76ers because they're in such a weird spot with Prescription P going down. Again, I don't know what he was doing. I'd like to know. It's never going to come out, but I'd like to know what he was doing. Either way, that leaves them in a really weird spot. I don't mind Kelly Oubre coming in and doing spot minutes, but man, it's just it's a lot going on. Philadelphia feels like they're one of those teams where it's like they're just like the Celtics, where it was like they plugged one hole just to open up another. They come out of mid-season, and it's like, okay, Embiid's healthy, Maxi's healthy, we're finally going to get this full roster the way it was supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, Paul George is like, yeah, nah, I'm out of here. I'm out of here, folks. They're playing mid basketball too, 6-4 in their last 10. Like, it's respectable, but I don't know. The Sixers just got a really weird feeling about them. I know they're one of the worst teams inside the arc. I think they're one of the worst rim finishing teams in the NBA. I don't know if that's a product of not having Embiid, but I don't know if Embiid even helps that really. He's a mid-range guy. Either way, the 76ers have just felt like a really odd team this year. And they're a blind spot for me. Don't get me wrong, they're not a bad team, but this is one of those teams where it's like, I can't explain why they're not better than they are. I would really love to talk to a Sixers fan about this because I don't know. I would like to know why they aren't better than they are. Joel Embiid's back. He's playing big minutes, and that's helped them a ton. It's just they haven't played that well. No disrespect to Kawhi Leonard. I probably won't be watching another Clippers game this year. I may. I don't know. I'll put them in young and fun, I guess. I might turn on a Clippers game. I don't know. I like Kawhi Leonard, so that keeps me always a little bit more interested. They're not a garbage team. Darius Garland's fit. He'll be back soon. I think Lawrence Frank said that his foot is fine, basically. I don't know what's going on with Darius Garland's feet anymore. I don't know. I don't want to know what's going on inside his shoes. But their midseason acquisitions, I guess, are keeping me interested a little bit. Mathurin, Garland, it's fine. Like, there's some fun players in there, don't get me wrong. I don't know what the long-term plan is here with Kawhi Leonard, but as the roster's built today, I mean, like I said, once Garland comes back, you got Garland at the 1, Mathurin at the 2, Kawhi at the 3, Collins and Zubats or something like that. Or not Zubats, Jesus, he's gone. Brook. I said Zubats. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Their young guys are keeping me interested, though. There is some young guys over there. Jordan Miller's been hooping. He's had some big games recently. And then Yannick Niederhauser. Conan Niederhauser has really had some run. When he's been allowed to play, he reminds me of an Oso Ighodaro type of guy. A guy who's like not a jump shooter, but he can finish around the rim, or a Jackson Hayes even, a better Jackson Hayes. Their young guys definitely keep me interested a little bit more. The Bucks, can I be honest? All right, they're going to go in young and not fun with the Miami Heat. I could probably put them in, probably will not watch another game this year, but I may if Giannis comes back healthy. You know, Giannis is always kind of a guy that you want to watch no matter what. He provides entertainment value. The reason they're not down below is literally because of Giannis. Without Giannis, if I talked about their team right now today, they'd be down here because I won't. Why would I watch Kevin Porter, Ryan Rollins hoops? I don't need that, right? They're 9 games under. They're not even that close to catching the Hornets. But when Giannis comes back, this team could really make some waves, and then they get into the first round. I mean, if Giannis comes back and they get into the play-in and they get into the first round, you're talking about a team that could really not upset. I don't know about upset. This team's not that good, but a team that could really make some noise and make a first round troubling for an opposing team. I'm going to put them back up here, though, because without Giannis, it's just not that fun to watch. Also, Bobby Portis is in the three-point contest. Salute to him. I don't know if he's going to win, but salute. It'd be hilarious if BP won the three-point contest. Houston Rockets are going to go in There Is a World. The issues that I have with the Rockets are the same that we've had with them since the beginning of the season, really, and it's like lack of playmaking. Three-point shooting has been really tough on them. Three-point shooting for the Rockets since, turn of the calendar year, January 1st, feels like it's been really rough. And it doesn't help that, like, some of your best players are non-shooters. I love Alp. Shooting sub 30% from 3 isn't great. You know, him and Amen have really needed to step up, and they've done it in some ways, but from behind the arc, no, not at all. Alp's efficiency has kind of plummeted this year, and I don't love it. I know the paint's been a little bit clogged, like I said, but I don't know. He hasn't helped himself really either. I don't know why he called that female ref a bitch. That's kind of a wild thing to say, Alp, but you know what? I'm not going to judge you that much. But their lack of, like, perimeter scoring at times, their lack of perimeter shooting, and just an overall, like, they're injured too. Of course, now Steven Adams is done for the year. That opens up Clint Capella playing a ton of minutes. I don't know. I think there is a real road where the Rockets can maybe get to a conference finals or a finals, but it's not paved well. You know, it's like a dark alley. They're going to have to get it the hard way. If they want to go to the finals, they're going to have to play hardball. Also, late game scoring outside of KD. Alp took over against, I forget who they played. Who did they play the other day where Alperen felt like he closed well? Who was that? Yeah, it was the Thunder game. Against the Thunder, Alp closed out relatively well. Of course, that was an undermanned Thunder team, but like, oh well, you take a win when you can get a win. The just late game scoring and late game shot creation outside of Kevin Durant can be a little bit questionable in Houston. Like I said, there's still a door open for them to get through, but I'm not that confident, all things considered. I'm not overly confident. The Brooklyn Nets, I'm not watching another game. You know what? We can clear this out while I'm here. The Sacramento Kings, I'm not watching another game. Who else can get it? Utah, I'm not watching another game. Utah did it to themselves. If they're playing their starters 30-plus minutes a night, Keontae, Jaren, Lowry, I'd be down to watch that all the time. The issue is that they're all capped at 25 minutes right now. I don't even think Keontae played yesterday, but Markkanen and Jackson and Nurkic were all capped at 25 minutes. None of them played the entire fourth quarter. It was a masterful tank job done by Will Hardy, but at the same time, I'm not sitting here watching tank ball, right? The Kings are in the fucking mud. They're terrible. They've lost 12 straight. They made no moves at the deadline besides picking up DeAndre Hunter. For why? Nobody knows. I don't know. This is a bad team run horribly. Scott Perry he's got something cooking, I guess. I don't know what he's cooking. Nothing. I'll tell you, nothing. He's cooking empty plates. The toughest part for the Kings is they also have to work through an awful owner. At least, you don't hear about Jazz ownership that often. Reinsdorf sucks ass. You don't hear about Nets ownership. Joe Tsai, is that their owner still? Either way, the Sacramento Kings are working through one of the worst owners in the sport in Vivek. It makes it really difficult. But they are terrible, and I will not be watching another game. Shout out to Nick Clifford. He's trying his best, but I just can't do it. And then the Brooklyn Nets, they have one shot creator. It's Michael Porter Jr. They went on a nice little winning streak. I think that was in December, maybe early January. It's kind of been washed away. They have not been a great team recently. They've lost some games by 50 plus in the last month. They've lost at least 3 games by 40 in the last month, and they're just not that good right now. They're young, they're trying to tank, and they are effectively tanking. Pacers added Zubats. I still don't really care. They're not that good. They weren't healthy. They've played really, it feels like better ball recently. They've been more competitive and competent, but Zubats coming in doesn't really help them right now, I'll say. It doesn't flip their season around. They're still looking to probably lose some games. I don't know if they gave up their pick in the deal or not, but either way, adding Zubats didn't really save this team's season. It was going down well before this. They're just kind of waiting for next year. Next year, completely different discussion. They could be one of the best teams in the East next year. Unfortunately, we're living in today land. Oh yeah, the Pelicans can go down there too. Zion factor. Zion doesn't carry that factor enough for me. Trey Murphy's been a fun player, don't get me wrong, but I just don't care. I can't care about the Pelicans. They've been really bad. Pelicans versus Kings was a hood classic yesterday. That was the game of the year. And I believe the Pelicans smacked around the Kings by 40 for 40 minutes. So it was pretty ugly. The game of the year went to the Pelicans, though. The Thunder are going to go in waiting for June because they are just the best team in the West. I mean, they beat the Lakers yesterday, very undermanned. Isaiah Joe played really well. Their depth comes in and really makes a difference. And LeBron said it. That's a championship team over there. They play with energy. They play tough defense, and they do it for 48 minutes. That's why they're the champions. And he's right. LeBron is right. That team is hard-nosed. They play tough. And without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they could have just folded the cards in and been like, well, we stink. No, instead they've won, I think, back-to-back. No, they haven't won back-to-back because they lost that game the other day against Houston. But they've looked competitive without Shai. And that's a pretty big compliment, is their best players out and they still look competent. And I think picking up Jared McCain is now more valuable than ever for the Thunder, the fact that Shai's out. They couldn't have predicted Shai was going to miss time, but picking up Jared McCain to soak up some point guard minutes is not it wasn't a bad decision on their part, certainly. And in retrospect, it looks even better now that Shai's out. So, hey, good preemptive move by Mr. Presti, and hey, they're just waiting on June. They're waiting for Shai to get healthy. The rest of their team is starting to get healthy. Holmgren, Hartenstein's back, so they're getting guys back. They're just waiting on Shai now, and once they get him back, they'll be back to blowing teams out probably. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I'm moving the Cavs into just a step below. I think they're on the same level as the Knicks, as the Nuggets even. They looked really good against the Nuggets yesterday, but they were playing really decent basketball before they got James Harden. Now they're adding James Harden, and you could say, well, they're subtracting Darius Garland, but Darius Garland hasn't played for them in quite some time. So the fact that they went on this little run where they played really decent ball was without Darius Garland, and now you've added James Harden for effectively nothing because Darius Garland wasn't playing. Now, of course, Evan Mobley's out, which definitely is tough. Your reigning DPOY is out, but they looked good without him. And it was the two-headed, the two-headed snake at the top, three-headed snake if you want to count Mr. Jalen Tyson, who I'm a big fan of. But either way, Harden played a good game. Mitchell went supernova as per. Donovan Mitchell is just such an explosive scorer. And that move where he cradles the ball, goes over the defender's head, it's unstoppable. I've mentioned it before. I'll say it again. Once he cradles that ball and goes over the defender's head, you're damn near helpless. But the Cavs also have depth on their side. I believe they're a really deep team. Like Dennis Schroeder's coming off their bench, Keon Ellis is coming off their bench. Larry Nance isn't a bad backup big man because you can especially swap out Allen Mobley at the 5. You can do that already. But then you bring in like Naquan Tomlin's in there. Jalen Tyson, of course, he's not a bench piece. Dean Wade is a bench piece. He can come in. Sam Merrill, Max Strus will be back eventually. They have a good bench and 3 stars at the top of it. This is a team that could make noise in the East. They've looked really decent recently, and it helps when you're bringing in a guy like James Harden, a veteran who can really help them in a playoff push. I worry because James Harden-led teams have had a very similar outcome for the last 15 years, and there's some worry that there's reason for concern. I know it's kind of unfair to say this team won't work out and won't win a championship because of this player. Again, guys, this is a guy who I've believed in countless times, and he's my favorite player maybe of the 2010s, but his track record is worrying. That's all I'm going to say. The rest of the team, though, looks really, really good. I mean, they came back from, 13-14 down last night against Denver. They look really damn good in that effort. They can lock in defensively when they get Evan Mobley back. And then, why do I keep saying Mobley like Mobley? Mobley. They get Evan Mobley back, and that'll change things for them. They'll look way better defensively than they did yesterday. You know what I mean? They're just getting that big body back in that lane, that smart defender. And the James Harden can help out with these young guys. They've needed a guy who can help unlock Jarrett Allen. I forget what their record is when Jarrett Allen records a double-double, but it's a damn good record when he does. And James Harden can help with the center. That's something that's been well established James Harden's whole career, is that he can come in and make a center look real damn good in the pick and roll. And that's exactly what he can do with Jarrett Allen next. I'm excited for the future of the Cavs this season. I just worry because of James Harden's playoff track record and resume. I know that's not fair, but that's the reality we live in. Up next, we have ourselves. They're right next to each other. So I have to discuss it. We got the Hornets, who are young and fun. I don't think they're like an elite team, but this is a team that is so fun to watch. And then they're fighting the Detroit Pistons, who are going up top. They're the best team in the East, the Detroit Pistons are. But we could talk about the fight now. This game was chippy the whole game. The Pistons and the Hornets was chippy. It was a playoff intensity game from damn near the tip-off. That was the loudest Hornets crowd I've heard maybe in my lifetime. They were buzzing, pun intended, I guess, kinda. But they were buzzing, and that was a team that was playing that has a lot of like wind behind them now. The wind is carrying them right now. It's a team that's playing on really good vibes, and they've been really fun. They were looking for a 10-game winning streak. Now we can go into the fight. The fight happened because, quite frankly, it was a chippy game the whole time. Guys were talking shit the whole game. Things were getting chippy around like the second quarter, it seemed, down low. Then you get kind of not a hard foul on Moussa Diabate, but it's not a soft foul. Duran's going up for a layup, and Diabate kind of slaps down on his arms a little bit, pulls him down a little bit, and then they go head to head, right? Ball drops after the foul, and they go head to head like two Rams fighting. And here's where shit gets spicy. Jalen Duren just face palms Moussa Diabate and shoves him backwards. Moussa's fucking heated now. He's sprinting through blood and bone to go find Jalen Duren to go fight him, right? Jalen Duren's backing up a little bit, trying to kind of cool things down after he does that stupid shit. Moussa is literally willing to fight anyone who steps in front of him at this point. Moussa Diabate was so mad, it looked like he was starting to toss his assistant coaches. So in the middle of this scrum, of course, everyone's flooding around each other trying to separate it. You got Jalen Duren backing up, going toward his bench area. Not toward his bench, but kind of on the other side of the court. He's on the other side of half court from where the fight started. So he's on the other side of half court. Miles Bridges, completely unprompted, decides to run around the whole pile and tries to like throw a punch at Duren while Duren's being restrained and moved away. So Miles Bridges runs around the whole scrum and escalates it by throwing a punch at Duren, or throwing a hand at Duren at least, right? He throws that punch, and I shit you not, it activated some type of like fucking Elon Musk, what's that, Starlink or whatever, in Isaiah Stewart's brain that's like, Jalen Duren's in trouble, I gotta get on this fucking court. Isaiah Stewart runs onto the court from the bench area, so that's automatically a suspension. Once you leave the bench for a fight, it's automatically a suspension for the player. Isaiah Stewart comes in like fucking Superman, flies in off the bench. He throws one right hook at Miles Bridges. Bridges, thank God he ducked that punch. He ducks underneath and then goes for a double leg takedown on Isaiah Stewart like he's fucking prime Daniel Cormier, right? It doesn't work out. They end up having to separate those two. And now Isaiah Stewart's fighting through fucking everyone to try and get a hold of Miles Bridges. And the whole time, Duncan Robinson is standing over there like, oh, dear fucking God, guys, stop. Duncan Robinson is the vet of the group, like, God, I just want to play basketball. So all four of them get thrown out. Diabate gets thrown out. Duren gets thrown out. Stewart gets thrown out. Miles Bridges gets thrown out. I'd assume all of them get suspended. I'd assume Isaiah Stewart gets like 10 games, somewhere around there, maybe 6. 6 to 10 range, I think would be fair. He gets to start his All-Star weekend a bit early. You know, compared to everyone else, he gets to start his little spring break early. I'd expect Duren to get 3 games, maybe 2 to 3 games, nothing crazy. Diabate is going to get 1 to 2, probably 1 to 3. I'd say is safe. And then Miles Bridges, I think Miles Bridges should get about 5 to 10. You know, I'm not usually the suspend him guy, but Miles Bridges is a dirtball, period. The reason why I think Miles Bridges should be suspended and punished more than Moussa Diabate in this situation, although Moussa is the one that quote-unquote escalates it going head-to-head with Duren, I think Miles Bridges is the one that really went over the line when things were starting to cool down and you're moving the two aggressors away from each other. He runs around the scrum and tries to throw a sneak punch. Stupid. So for that, automatically, I think he should get 5 to 10. Isaiah Stewart's going to get 5 to 10 just because he's a repeat offender. Moussa Diabate shouldn't get that big of a suspension, 1 to 5 range. And then Duren should probably get somewhere around there too. While we're talking about fighting teams, we could talk about this fight. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to go in just a step below. I think they're a really good team, and I think Anthony Edwards really kind of pads that a little bit. But adding Ayo Dosunmu, who hit a couple of threes in his first game there, he's looked all right as a Minnesota Timberwolf. Who'd have thought he would have fit in perfectly? And he does, right? They don't have a point guard still, like a true point guard, but they bring back Mike Conley, who can really help them soak up minutes at the guard spot. DiVincenzo, Dosunmu guard spot isn't bad. And then Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, Rudy, McDaniels, a ton of really good contributors. I think they're a decent team. I think they're higher than a lot of teams because of the fact, for me at least, they just have Anthony Edwards, who can and will take over late game. I know the Wolves are below the Lakers in the standings, but as how I hold them as basketball teams, I hold the Timberwolves higher than I do the Lakers. And I know, again, stupid. I think they're below Houston too. I could put them down one. I like their midseason more than I like the Lakers and the Rockets midseason. Adding Ayo Dosunmu was a big difference maker. Now we can talk about the fight, though. This one was a lot less impactful. The Atlanta Hawks are actually, I already had them slated. I believe I'm putting them in young and not that fun. They're mid. They're mid as hell. And even their young guys are mid as hell. Zach Risache has not looked great at all this year. Jalen Johnson's really carrying the fun factor for them. But randomly, 20-point game, and you got Naz Reid and Mo Gay throwing hands. I don't know what happened there. I wasn't really watching this game a ton because it was like a 30-point game. Can you blame me for not turning it on? Randomly in a 20-point game, though, you got two guys throwing hands and these teams, scrumming with each other. Mo Gay is probably going to get 1 to 3. I'd assume Naz Reid gets like 1 to 3 as well because neither one of them are repeat offenders or guys with histories of throwing hands, right? I don't know what to make of that at all because it wasn't like, again, Charlotte versus Detroit was a tightly contested game. Of course, after all the players were thrown out in that Detroit game, Detroit ends up melting a 12 or a 14-point lead. It gets cut to 4. And then they outpaced Charlotte the rest of the game. Cunningham, the closer, was playing really well in that game. But back to the Hawks and Timberwolves. I'll talk about the Timberwolves because the Hawks are not important anymore. The Timberwolves, the reason why I hold them so high is because I like Ayo Dosunmu's addition, and I like them adding Mike Conley back, right? So I think their midseason really helps them out a ton in my mind. They're getting healthy again. They look kind of decent. Like Bones Highland's giving them plus minutes. Like, they're not a bad team. I like them more because I believe in their defense more than I do like most of these teams, except for Houston. Houston has a really good defense too, but I think the Minnesota Timberwolves have better perimeter shooting than the Rockets do. The Rockets have a shade better defense, but that's about it. Memphis, I don't envision myself watching another game. I just don't. The young guys don't interest me that much to tune in. Cedric Coward, Jalen Wells, like these are good players. Don't get me wrong. Cam Spencer deserves some respect, but I don't care enough. You know what I mean? Not one of those teams that I'm actively searching for a game to watch. I don't care about Memphis enough this year. Portland, super mid. Super duper mid. Like they can't get themselves out of this 3 to 5 games below 500 zone. And I know they've been injured. A lot of guys have been hurt. Denny Avdia's back was hurting him for a little bit back there. Drew Holiday's missed time. Of course, Dame's not. He's in the 3-point contest, but he hasn't played a game. I don't know what to think about that. They're relying on some guys that I don't like in a playoff setting. Sidi Sissoko, Ryan Rupert, the Frenchman. There's just a lot of guys. Caleb Love is getting a ton of shots. Like I don't know if I trust Portland to really dig themselves out of where they are. They're the 9 seed. They're 2 games under 500. They are 4-6 in their last 10. I just took a quick glance. 4-6 in their last 10. I know some of that's without Denny. Either way, I don't know what to think about Portland. I don't think they're spectacular. I think they're right with Golden State in the mid field. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the Wizards down there too. So like a third of the league is already out and tanking, and nobody cares about them anymore. The Wizards, when healthy next year, we're talking about a different team. But again, like I said, we're talking about today and now, not next season. And the Wizards right now are playing Will Riley a lot. I'm good. Trust. And then finally are the Orlando Magic, and they're super mid as well. I don't know what to think about the Magic. They're constantly hurt. There's always one guy missing from the puzzle. You know, whether it's Suggs or whether it's Banchero or whether it's Wagner. Right now, I believe Wagner's out, right? And even then, their bench is horrific a lot of the time. Their bench can be absolute. Their starters, I think I saw a stat that the lineups with Bane, Wagner, Banchero, and Suggs, I think, are like plus 16. And then every other lineup just kind of falls to pieces. Anthony Black looks really good. Anthony Black looks good. Like, they have some individual guys that have looked good. It's just as a team. I mean, what are they sitting at right now record-wise as I look? 28-24, they're the 7 seed. They're a fine team. They have frustrating losses where they'll be, they'll go out there and they'll upset a Detroit, but then they'll go out there and they'll lose, to the Wizards. And it's like, what? How? So like I said, they're constantly missing somebody. Also, their perimeter shooting is still just not great. It's not great perimeter shooting-wise. What else can I critique with them? Their bench. Don't get me wrong. They have a lot of size, but they don't have them for the right positions. Like Tristan Da Silva's playing the 2 sometimes. Why? That's a 4. Tristan Da Silva is a 3 or a 4 on every other team. The thing is with the Magic, they're such a big team. Jonathan Isaac still getting a lot of PT. He's looked all right recently. They're such a big team. They don't have actual guys that can play the 2 outside of Caleb Houston. I don't even know. Jace Richardson, Jace Richardson is in the dunk contest, but didn't know he was in the dunk contest. How does that happen? I don't know. Either way, the Magic are just super mid, super injured consistently. They're always missing somebody. Like I said, it feels like they're just always missing somebody. As you can tell, there is no teams left. If you enjoyed this video, you should like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. Talk to me about your favorite fight of the night. Wait, this is an NBA video, not a hockey video. I'm going to go catch a game. See you guys in the next one.